Hi everybody, welcome back. It has been a while, but I have been on vacation. I hope everybody's NaNoWriMe is going well. I scheduled a lighter amount of writing over this last week while I was in Orlando, but things didn't really go as planned. So honestly, I don't know if I'll reach my 50,000 word goal, but I'm going to at least keep writing and try. I'm gonna keep going for it. I don't see a point in stopping. A quick update for everybody. So this week I will be sending out query letters for this current book that that I've been working on for the past 2 years, really. I would love to tell you guys more about that, but I'm going to kind of keep you in the dark for a bit because querying can be tedious and you don't always get an answer back right away. I would love to give you guys a taste of what this book is about, so expect that in the next week or two. Yeah, thank you everybody for your patience, and I wanted to talk a little bit about Harry Potter World. So I decided to make this Harry Potter World do's and don'ts. Just things that I learned from this last week because we spent pretty much the whole week at Universal Studios. So these are things that I learned at Harry Potter World that you should and shouldn't do. Real quick, I want to show that I'm sporting my house. Really, I love this sweatshirt. I've been wearing it so often. So let's get started. My first do of Harry Potter World, get to the park right when it opens. I mean, I understand that can be early, trust me. Florida is 2 hours ahead of Utah. So yeah, I had to wake up 7 o'clock. No, before 7. 6 o'clock Florida time. Thank you very much. I still survived, so I think you'll be okay. Yes, get there right when the park opens. Most of the time in Orlando, it opens at 9 o'clock. A, you'll have better parking, and B, there's a lot less people, less wait time for rides. Diagon Alley is probably one of the coolest parts of Universal Studios. It's so compact, and the aesthetic of it is absolutely amazing. Just the attention to detail and how you are transported into a different world is beyond imaginable for me. The reason why you want to get there early is if you want to do the whole wand experience where you have an interactive wand, it's not very fun to do that experience when everybody else and their dog is doing it at the same time. Diagon Alley can be packed. And so trying to do these wand experiences there while waiting in line, it kind of takes the magic out of it. If you see 3 other people do it right before you, then it's not as fun of an experience. So get to the parks right when it opens, just to beeline it straight to Diagon Alley or Hogsmeade and take care of your interactive wand experience when no one else is there. We spent basically a whole day this last Friday just experiencing Harry Potter World, and there is nobody around. We have to actually find where these experiences are in a map because there's about only 25. You can probably whip those out in an hour or two if no one else is there. If not, you have to wait in lines. And the people there are people there, and it is their job to tell you how to do it. Highly recommend getting there as early as possible. You don't have to stay the whole day, clearly. Like, we left around 3 or 4 o'clock about every day. But it's definitely worth it just for the Harry Potter interactive wand experience alone. And moving on to our first don't of Harry Potter World. Remember that this is all personal opinion. Not everything I say is valid. Someone could have had a very different experience from me. But I don't find the Ollivander's wand ceremony necessary, because we went and luckily we got into the line right when it opened, so we got in fairly quickly, and they had a whole group of us and they pick someone who goes through the whole wand ceremony where the wand chooses them. It's not a super long experience, maybe takes 5 minutes tops, so if you're waiting in line to do this wand ceremony, you might be sorely let down, and there's a chance that this witch who's in charge of taking you through the experience, she will pick a wand that you don't like, that you don't want. And with that ceremony, you kind of feel like the chosen one, but there's a very slim chance that you will actually be picked as the chosen one. And instead, like Ollivander's, there's 2 different stores, one on each side. There are so many wands you can pick from. Most of them are character wands. My boyfriend Jarrett, he got a Death Eater one just because it was cool looking. It had the dark mark on it. And there's so many to choose from. Doing the experience, you don't really get that choice of choosing because you feel like the wand chose you. I feel like it's not necessary, and if you wanted one, you should just go in and buy one yourself. The next do is just the whole day at Harry Potter World. I know that sounds a bit extensive. There's a whole bunch of parks, and I get that. However, we spent 3.5 days. The first 2 days, we just kind of went all over Universal Studios. Yeah, we went through Harry Potter, but we also did a lot of other rides. But at the end of the week, Jarrett, his mom, and I, we just wanted to spend the whole day at Harry Potter World and just finish up with the experience. And honestly, taking that time to really get through everything, go through every store, do all the experiences, do every ride multiple times, it was absolutely worth it. There's just so much you can miss because they put so much detail into every side. Just so much potential to miss something. I highly recommend spending a whole day there. My next don't is don't skip the queues. I cannot emphasize this enough. And here's why. The queues are quite possibly one of the best parts of Harry Potter World. So there will be a new ride. However, I didn't get to experience the Hagrid ride, but Gringotts and the Forbidden Journey Castle ride, the amount of detail and attention that they put into these queues will astound you. At the end of the day, we just wanted to go through the queue of the castle again just to see every detail and every nook and cranny, because they recreated Dumbledore's office, they recreated the greenhouse, they recreated the dark arts room, even the Gryffindor Commons, and it was just so magical to be inside of that and just to look around and catch all of the small details, especially in Dumbledore's office. There are so many references to the books in there that you kind of just want to spend some time in that queue. I highly recommend at least a Harry Potter World. I don't know about the rest of Universal Studios, but the 2 rides, if not 3 rides at Harry Potter World, the queues are quite possibly one of the best parts of the world. Another do is riding the Hogwarts Express. It is actually very convenient. I'm pretty sure it's the only mode of transportation between Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios. It is phenomenal, the attention to detail. You actually feel like you are in platform 9 3/4, which again, the queue is amazing. You don't want to skip the queue for the Hogwarts ride either. The train isn't just a train taking you from one side of the park to the other. It's a ride. And you get 2 different experiences going from Hogsmeade to Diagon Alley and vice versa. You get 2 very different things. So I recommend riding them both ways. My favorite way was going to Hogwarts, because once you get off the train, you see how magical the castle in Hogsmeade is, and it's just a complete experience. You feel like you're in the movie. So yes, absolutely ride the train. It's a great way to get back and forth the 2 parks, and it's very immersive in the Harry Potter world. You'll feel like you are going to Hogwarts. Another don't is the performances they put on in Harry Potter World. We saw 2. One was the Triwizard Tournament, and it was basically kind of a dance recital. And then the other was a puppet telling story. We specifically wanted to hit them, but I feel like we were slightly let down with these experiences. Yeah, they were cool, but they were also kind of lackluster. I expected more. I thought they'd be more immersive in the audience. So I was kind of let down by that. It's not necessary to watch those. All right, the next do is, this is a do that I will wholeheartedly support, is eating a meal at the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. There are 2 restaurants. One in Diagon Alley is called the Leaky Cauldron, and it is an exact replica of the Leaky Cauldron in the movies. Same with the 3 Broomsticks. So they have slightly different menus, but let me tell you, that food is magical. So it's a little more expensive than typical restaurant meals, I'll give you that, but it's so different from other park foods. But if you want a full-on meal and some sustenance to get you through the day, roasted chicken and ribs and corn on the cob, potatoes and like roasted vegetables, like full-on English hearty meals, and they were spectacular. You had to wait through a pretty long line to get to it, but it was so worth it because you sit down and you are in the movie of Harry Potter. It is almost an exact replica, so realistic, and just sitting there and taking a moment of your day to eat, replenish your energy, and experience this beautiful aesthetic. I highly recommend it. The food is amazing, including their dessert. But I highly recommend sitting down and eating at the Leaky Cauldron or the 3 Broomsticks. The last don't of this video will be merch. And this, I think, is strictly based off of person's to person's opinion. I had the original idea of, I can get Harry Potter stuff anywhere else and it'll be cheaper. And I was kind of right, honestly. If you want to buy a robe, robes are going to be expensive no matter where you go. They're upwards of $100 at Universal Studios. But if it's what you want to get, then go for it. Like this sweatshirt that I have here was $60. In the end, it was $67 with tax. But I knew I wanted to buy one thing at Universal Studios. I wanted it to be something that I would actually wear. And I have worn it basically the whole week I've been back. You really need to go from store to store to figure out which merch you want and then settle down on what you actually would buy. But it can be pricey. I think a t-shirt was about $35 at the minimum. Be picky about your merchandise. It can add up in the end, especially at the candy stores. They have candy stores everywhere. There are some specific candies that you can't really get anywhere else. I got a chocolate frog. Jarrett and I exchanged chocolate frogs for a 5-year anniversary. But keep in mind, you probably don't want to buy chocolate until the end of the day, but everybody else has the same thought process as you. Everyone will be in the candy stores at the end of the day, so kind of be wary of that. And my last do is butterbeer. And I'm going to explain why. So we tried about every single version of butterbeer that they had. We tried the normal butterbeer, the frozen, the soft serve, the mousse that they had at the restaurant. The one thing we didn't try was the fudge and also the hot butterbeer, but that's seasonal. We couldn't have gotten it anywhere. We kind of experimented with our butterbeer. We discovered we wanted to make a butterbeer float. In doing that, you kind of need to mix all three, the butterbeers you can get. So get a couple of different cups. You mix the regular butterbeer for flavor, the frozen butterbeer for a little bit of coldness because it has ice in it, that's why it's frozen, and then the soft serve butterbeer to give it that creaminess. It is amazing. Let me tell you, it was the butterbeer experience of a lifetime. But the butterscotch flavor isn't that apparent unless it's just the normal butterbeer. Everything else is just kind of a tame flavor. Especially with the frozen butterbeer, there's not as much flavor with that. It's kind of iced down. I like to think every time I buy a butterbeer, just a small amount of change goes in J.K. Rowling's pocket. Anyway, so those were basically my tips for Harry Potter World. I've only been there once, but we were there for a while, and it was so magical. If you ever get a chance to go there, I highly recommend it. It was by far the best part of Universal Studios. And I'm just waiting for a Lord of the Rings world and or a Game of Thrones world. Well, thank you everybody for watching. I hope that these tips help you in your future trips to Universal Studios. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks everybody.